Hello friends, my name is Steve. This is Steve Talks Books. Thank you for coming by and watching my weekly update. It's where I talk about what I've been reading, what I'm going to read, what I won't get to, and everything else in between. If you'd like to connect with me, the best place is on our forum at pagetwoing.com. That's where we plan all of our events. We have all the book discussions there. We get into all the trouble of all the different group reads there. We have forums for lots of different topics. Recently, we did create sections for Beverly Lee and Nicole Eigener called the Crimson Quill. So they'll be going by there, posting updates. Also, author A.J. Retger has a section there now. And Kian and Ardalan also has a section there that we've been peppering all of them with questions and interacting with them. So go by and check that out. We also did create a writer's battleground section. It's like a club. We need judges and writers to get that going. It's just like a fun way to write quick stories, and then they'll be judged and we can kind of go back and forth, and just a nice way for readers and for authors to hone their craft. A few of you may remember last year we used to watch a movie every month, and then we'd have a group discussion for it. I think we're going to revive that. Movies are easy to watch, very little time commitment compared to a book. So we do have a movie club there now that we're discussing, whether it's on stream or in the chat, having movie discussions once a month or so. So go by and check that out as well if you're interested in joining that fun. I was also asked recently about events because I mentioned that a lot of the events we have on the calendar are open to anyone. So the way that it works is whenever I post an event, or anyone can post events, not just me, other YouTubers use that calendar for events. When I post an event, it'll give you the time, the day, and an option to RSVP. 99% of the time, they're open to anyone. Sometimes I'll post a Friday conversation there. If you want to join, you just RSVP for it. Other book discussions, other group reads, other meetups, it's all planned there. I have to have it in one place because too many platforms, I get lost. So the way that it works is once I post it, when you view the calendar event, it'll show you your time and your day. So it'll adjust to wherever you are in the world, as long as you're not using a VPN that changes your location to hide your IP address or something like that. If you're just browsing, then it'll show you your time and day, and you can choose to RSVP for it. You just click the button, and then once the day comes, or around that day, I post the StreamYard link to that same calendar, so you can click the link and join in. So RSVPing just saves the spot for you. So whenever you see an event coming up, you can check our calendar if you're a member and go by an RSVP for it to save your spot and join us in whatever discussion it may be. We have lots of stuff coming up, lots of reads. We have a few that we're reading because the authors joined the forums and offered ARCs for them. So we constantly have something going on. So if you're looking for people to read with, or to join discussions with authors or with other readers or whatever, go check out the calendar. And I also have a limit too, so there's not too many people on certain events. So the sooner you see it, the better. That way you can save your spot. So let's get into what I was reading last week. Last week I had a pretty long work week. I had lots of long days and not a lot of time to read. I wasn't feeling too well partway through the week, so I was kind of dragging there too. So I didn't get a lot of reading in. I did listen to a little bit of Come With Me by Ronald Malfi. Got some of that audiobook in. I did read The Monsters We Feed by Thomas Howard Riley. And you might be saying, how did you finish that book in 1 week? Well, that's because it's nowhere near as big as We Break Immortals. We Break Immortals, it doubles as a weapon. That book is a huge, huge book. The Monsters We Feed is a shorter book. I think it's 300 pages or something. Really easy read, not very heavy, not very dense. Got through it pretty quick, but I did enjoy the world. We are having a spoiler-filled discussion with Thomas on that on Tuesday of this week. So if you haven't already, it is out to purchase. I did have an ARC copy, so I read it early, but it is available for purchase now. So I'm not sure if you can catch up with us in time, but it's an option. This week I've also been watching The Healer. It's a beta read that I'm doing for A Frog in Time. I'm not sure. Alex, he's on our forum. He posted it there looking for beta readers. That's another thing. If you want to beta read or ARC read, we have sections for that too, where authors post books that they want beta or ARC readers for, or if you want to post, like post, hey, I'm a reader looking for ARCs, people will respond. So I have been reading The Healer. I chipped away at that one. And also I read the first 4 chapters of The Judging Eye by R. Scott Baker. Uh, it was a big, be real careful what I say here. I don't want to spoil it for anyone, but it was a pretty big change of tone, I think you can say. Don't want to spoil too much. I don't want to give away anything, but it was a big difference. I think the series needed the changes that were made, and kind of like the different the different presentation style, I guess. I'm trying to be really vague here if you haven't noticed, because I don't want to spoil it for anyone. But we did record the first 4 chapters, so that'll be out. The podcast for the first 4 chapters, that'll be out on Friday. So keep your eyes and ears peeled for that. That'll be on the podcast and on YouTube. And I also did start The Trials of Ashmount by John Palladino. And I think I got through like the first 100 pages or so. So I'm chipping away at that, and we are having a spoiled field discussion for that one on Saturday. So I have a week to read about 400 pages. Not too bad. Not too bad at all. So it shouldn't be a problem. That's another really easy read. And in the first chapter, much like the Hellborn King, you know pretty quickly what kind of story you're in for. So it doesn't wait very long to get into the story and kind of say, hey, this is what you're in for. So, and I've also been asked, like, how do you read so much? How do you read so much so quickly? But I'm not a fast reader. I just allocate a lot of time to reading. So it's not that I'm a fast reader, or that I put a lot of time into it. So that's my secret, is I devote a certain amount of time per day to read, or at least I try to. And that's how I get through the books I do, because otherwise there's no way I'd be able to. Whenever I have a spare moment at my Kindle and I'm reading a few pages here and there, or I'll pop an audiobook in and listen to an audiobook if it's available. So I'm always ready. So if I have a few minutes of downtime, instead of scrolling on Twitter looking at cat pictures or whatever, I I pull out the Kindle, or I'm listening to an audiobook. So that's how I get through a lot. And it doesn't sound like a lot, but it does help to have those little moments, 10, 15 minutes here and there makes a big difference. When you're chipping away at it and you look down and you're just like, oh, I read 100 pages today, just in between other stuff that I was doing, or while I was waiting for things, or whatever. And this week I'll be continuing to read The Trials of Ashmount, listening to Come With Me, and also the next 4 chapters for The Judging Eye. We're doing 4 chapters every week for our podcast. This last week on the channel, we did have the Friday conversation with Yolene Reeds, Halo Scott, and H.C. Newell. We, as usual, we went over a lot of different topics. We discussed jelly beans, we discussed murder, mayhem, chaos. We discussed dark fantasy, horror, the parallel, how they overlap. We discussed drunk Dungeons and Dragons stories. We discussed dirt. It was it was all over the place, but it was lots of laughs. And after the week I had, it was the perfect time for it. So lots and lots of fun, lots and lots of laughs. That was good stuff. I also had I made this video because I had gotten my first check on Tuesday, so I thought, well, I'll just do this video because I wanted to get it out sooner. So I got my first YouTube check video. That thumbnail, it's probably one of my favorites, and the sad thing is, it took me about 10 minutes to make, and I spend so much time on thumbnails, and they always suck. I whipped that one up in no time, and it turned out pretty good. So I don't know, I give up. But it was I wanted to, before I started this, I was always curious, or even before I was monetized, I always wondered, how does it work? Like how does this? And I never knew like how this all works. So I thought, well, I'll give you kind of a peek behind the curtain and see what it looks like and how it works, and kind of the way I see it. And again, everyone has their own ideas for what they want to do with their channels. Everyone has their own goals and what they want to do with it. So it's just my perspective on all that whole thing. And I'm really glad that it was something that people found interesting. I tried to make it, accessible. So if you're not familiar with YouTube or the back end, you can kind of at least get an idea for what's all involved. And also I wanted to share, I don't talk about it too much because I don't want to make a big deal out of it, but I wanted to talk about my costs and kind of give everyone an idea of everything else that's included in content creation that you may not consider if you don't do it. There are free options, like I said in the video, but oftentimes the free options they don't include the perks. So the little extras, and those extras save time. So the extras, like for instance for Buzzsprout, whenever I submit an episode, it goes to all the different platforms right away. I don't have to worry about it. I can create lots of other things with it, like little sound bites. So those little perks save me time, and I'd rather spend a few more bucks than spend more time doing other things. So for me, it's worth it. But your mileage may vary. I just wanted to share that with everyone so everyone knew everything else that was involved if you're not familiar with it. And of course, on Saturday, we had the House of Chains discussion with author Steven Erikson, our friend Layla, and Katarina. We went over a lot of different topics. It always blows me away how friendly so many people are in the book community and how willing they are to spend time with you or to talk with you or to, just be really generous with their time and with their energy. And we are continuing with Midnight Tides. We do have the date for the first book, the first discussion for the first book. It's not until January. So if you are someone who wanted to catch up with us, it's a good time if you want to catch up, it's a good time to jump back in the series, or if you think you might be at Midnight Tides by then. Like I'd mentioned, anyone's welcome. And we do plan to have Steven Erikson back. We're going to be bothering him again at some point. So that's the plan later, depending on how things go. But I think the first book for Midnight Tides isn't until like the second half of January. So lots of time. But if you want more information, it's all in the forum on the calendar. And this week, we are having the spoiler-filled discussion for The Monsters We Feed with Thomas Howard Riley on Tuesday. We do have the Judging Eye, chapters 1 through 4, spoiler discussion on Friday. And then, of course, on Friday night, do have the Friday conversation. Let me make sure I get all these names right. We do have Sadir S. Samir, Dirk Ashton, and Zhao Silva. I think I'm mispronouncing Mr. Silva's name. I'm going to get clarification on that on Friday, but just a loaded panel, so really looking forward to that. That's going to be a great time. Also, I'm going to record a Drowned Kingdom, a review for a Drowned Kingdom, and have that out on Wednesday. Here's hoping. With 2023 right around the corner, you know that everyone's talking about their favorite reads for 2022 or what they plan to do for 2023. I plan to read more comics and graphic novels in 2023. Just to kind of loosen it up a little bit, I will be reading Berserk. That's something that I'm going to be reading. I have the first volume. So if anyone wants to join me for that. And I plan to make a list of other books that I want to target. It'll be mostly indie, self-published, creator-owned, or classics. So I'll be having that list out soon. I did consider creating Steve Talks Comics, just to separate the comic book stuff. But I did have a poll, and it seemed like everyone was okay with me keeping it on one channel, which makes it easier for me, but we'll see how that goes. Let me know down below if you would mind seeing comic book stuff now and again. I'm thinking once or twice a month. That's about kind of what I'm shooting for. Also, after Friday's discussion, I did set up a day and time with Halo Scott to discuss her award-winning book, I Will Kill You, on February 4th. So if you're interested, like I said, it's all there on our calendar. This week I had two questions for you. The first one was a thread on the forum that made me think and maybe kind of, I always miss this every year, but do you have any seasonal reads that you like to get through during certain seasons? It's wintertime, it's the cold weather, it's the holidays, you kind of get that cozy feeling by the campfire. So do you have any seasonal reads that you try to get through every year? I always want to, and then the time comes and goes, and it's like, oh, too late for that. I just always forget or have other things going on, and I just never get to it. So I'm curious what your seasonal reads are. Is there a tradition that you have that you read certain books certain times per year? Let me know down below. Also, I see how many books some people go through, and I mentioned that I allocate a lot of time to reading, and I get through probably 4 or 5 books a month. I think I try and average about 100 pages a day is kind of what I shoot for. That's kind of my soft goal. Some days I make it, some days I don't. That's just kind of my, if I get it, that'd be great and I can keep up. But I wonder, because with 4 or 5 books per month, that's a lot. And sometimes, and I've said this before, but sometimes when I have a really busy schedule, I'll look back on a book I read 2 weeks ago and I'm like, I don't remember anything that happened. So I tried to spread them out. And I think that's why comics will help too, because it'll be a little break in between, a different format. It's more of a visual format. little bit easier to get through, kind of like a palate cleansing kind of thing. So how many books do you typically get through per month? Or do you have a goal? Is it just whatever happens? I'm curious because I see some people reading like 40, 50 books per month, and that's like a book a day. And I don't know. My brain's just not powerful enough to handle it, I guess. But and I wonder if that's how many books do you readers get through? Curious. Okay, this week I also had some book mail I wanted to share, and I actually don't know what one of these things are. I checked my post office box yesterday, and I had one box that I know what it is. At least I think I do. So let's open this up. I wanted to share it with everyone. Don't worry, it's just a rubber band, thankfully. Let me just, ill prepared today. So this one, oh wow, this one was a book that I sent a message on Goodreads, actually. Oh wow, that's beautiful. Wow. So this is a book that I was contacted on Goodreads for. I get lots of requests for people to send books over, and it's a typical thing. I try to put all of my social media bios and stuff that I don't accept review requests, just because I hate to get a book and then have to get to it in a certain amount of time. I don't want to feel like I don't want to get a free book and then not review it. I just feel really bad about that. So typically, whenever I get a request, I say, thank you for offering. I would hate to get it and not review it in time, but I'll buy a copy. So that's typically my response. But for this one, it was an author that we went back and forth a little bit with. We had a little nice conversation, and he offered to send a book. He's like, look, no pressure. If you can get to it, you can. I think you'll really like it. I'd like to send you a copy. So after getting a feel and kind of getting the, getting the good vibes, I thought, okay. So this is the Purple Prince. Sorry for the light. What a beautiful hardcover. So Sebastian Menkes. I'm sorry, Sebastian, if I'm mispronouncing your last name, but a beautiful, beautiful hardcover. And I believe this is a book that Jimmy from the Fantasy Network reviewed, and so Jimmy liked it. So we have similar tastes. So I thought I'll give it a shot. It is book 1 in the River Dream, and the synopsis. Well, I don't. Here's the synopsis. If you'd like to read it, you know that I don't like to read synopsis, but that's it. If you want to pause, that's the synopsis on the back of the book. I like to go into books not knowing anything, so I typically avoid the synopsis. But oh wow, look at that! There's a little. Well, that's cool. That's pretty neat. I like that. Wow, beautiful. Thank you so much for sending it over. What a beautiful book. I had no idea it was a hardcover. So, wow. Beautiful, beautiful book. So, I guess it goes without saying, if anyone's interested in reading it with me, I'll make I'll add it to my list on the forum. If you'd like to read with me, let me know. And, let's see if maybe we can even get Sebastian on the channel to talk about his book or to talk with us. So, we'll see how it works out. So, the other package, I'm not sure who sent it, to be frank. I'm not sure. And it is a little weird having a P.O. box and not knowing like who sent what sometimes. So let's see. Let's read the note first. Oh, okay. Gift for you. It says, Dear Steve, I'm a fantasy author working on the series Eternus. Hello again. I got your email reply. I wanted to gift you a paperback. I'd be grateful if I could hear your thoughts in one of your future videos. Okay, so this one was an author that reached out to me, and we went back and forth on email a little bit, and I told him, look, I would love to read it, but I would hate to, get it and not review it in time. But he decided to send one just, when I can get to it. So no pressure. This is a thick book. This is mispronounce that name. There's the title, and it is The Shores of Destiny. I believe this is book 7, but I also believe you don't have to read the previous books to get to it. So that's good too. What a great cover too on this one. And this is a chunker of a book. So This is by Toshinori Kichi. And again, I'm really sorry if I'm mispronouncing everyone's name. I'm really terrible at that. Whenever we have interviews, I always try and ask, can you pronounce your name for me? It's like, my name's John. Like, yeah, but can I just hear it just to make sure I'm pronouncing it right? That's like one of my worst fears, just to mispronounce someone's name when they're right there next to me. So, well, thank you again. Thank you so much for sending this over. It's a beautiful cover. I love that cover and looking forward to getting into it. So, good stuff. Wow. Yeah, good stuff. Also, so like I said, if anyone wants to read these with me, get in touch and we'll try and make it happen. Or if you've read these and are familiar with them, let me know what you thought of them. So I think that was it for me this week, and lots of stuff going on. Hope you're doing well. Hope you are having a great week. Hope you have lots of fun stuff planned. Let me know down below how your week was, what you're reading, watching, or listening to. I always love to hear from you, and you can probably hear my dogs sitting outside the door, waiting for me to finish. But let me know down below how you're doing. What are you up to? What do you have planned? It's the holiday season. It can get stressful, and there's lots of pressures from various points, various sources. So try to hang in there and just enjoy the time. Enjoy the time of year with your loved ones, people you care about, friends and family. So just try to focus on the good stuff and try not to let it get to you too much. It can be kind of a tough time of year, so hang in there. So again, hope you're doing great. Drop by our forums. It's been this last week it's just exploded. There's been lots of activity there, lots of people who are posting stuff. We're having a really good time. I think I spent like an hour catching up on all the different posts and doing other things on there, adding the clubs, the groups. So it's been great seeing just the activity just continually rise. So we're a friendly bunch. Come by and say hello, interact with me or with the other YouTubers there, other readers, other authors. It's we try and keep it an easygoing, friendly place to visit. So again, hope you're doing great. Try and hang in there with all the different holiday holiday stuff going on. Hang in there, and hope you're doing great. Let me know down below how you're doing, and always love to hear from you. So until next time, talk to you soon.